Hey everybody, Jeff from Corrugated Cavalier here. Here's the second installment of my Can I Get a Dagger Through Mail test since I messed up the recording on the Mandrithi last time. It's a much nicer day, we still have some wind, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. So last time I did manage to break this ring. It was a solid ring that I broke, and you can see kind of the space where that was, and popped the rivet of one next to it here. You can sort of see. This one right here. And well, unfortunately I didn't get that on film, but we're going to try to get that done today. I'm going to flip it around so hopefully I don't hit that spot. And let's get started. Alright, let's do just some 50% power-ish strikes just to get started and warm up a little bit. That cut like a little bit into one of the rings. Same there, we are actually cutting into the rings a little bit, even with the 50% power strikes. Okay, so those all cut into rings a little bit, but we haven't broken anything yet, so let's go at it. No breaking ring, cut pretty well into one and deformed another quite well, but no broken rings. Okay. Yes, we did break a ring on that one. I will come show you. I've got to find it. So we did cut through a ring on that one. Yes, right here. And this was a solid ring, actually. It wasn't a riveted ring. So you can see right here on the, I have this on the point of the dagger here. It's really hard to see. I'm going to get it really close to the camera. But you can see this ring right here is broken. So I just twisted it and you can now really clearly see that. Let's see, did I pop any rivets on the one next to it? Okay, so there is the broken ring. Did I pop any rivets next to it? I don't think I popped any rivets next to them, but I did deform this ring pretty well. Let's see if I can get the camera on that. So this ring is supposed to be round. This one's sticking up here, but it's like pretty oval now and really bent. It's hard to see, but it's pretty bent. So if I get the point, if I did break that ring, and the ring would still be in there, of course, so let's try to kind of stuff it back in there and see what kind of penetration we can get. I'm going to kind of just do my best to pop this ring back in, get it at least through a couple. I know this is not super scientific, but you know, I'm just trying to get an idea for how this might work. Alright, so I'm going to pop this ring back in, put it partially together, and get my point in there. Okay, now I'm just going to brace this against my body and see how far we can push this through. So still only about that much on this one. It's not as good as my last one, but I think, you know, with compressing flesh, that could still be a wound. I don't think a super serious one, but if you're compressing flesh, that could, if you're going into, you know, like the neck or the groin or somewhere where blood vessels are close to the surface, that could be a bad time. Let's try a couple more at full power and see if I can repeat that. All right, here we go, going full power again. Okay, so that did not break a ring, but got pretty close and badly deformed two of them. Like the rings are close to bent in half. Let's see if I can. Let's do a couple more and see what happens. Okay, so same thing on that one. Really badly bent two of them and cut partially through the rings. Okay, and that one definitely busted a ring. And that strike busted that one wide open. So you can see right here, that ring is busted wide open. So, you know, maybe I hit theirs before, I'm not really sure. That's possible. But I don't think all of these where I've been breaking rings have been that. And also, on that one, that popped a rivet on one next to it as well. So if you look here, that is a popped rivet. So I'm just prying apart that popped rivet, okay? And just broke it. Okay, so that blow did land near the other one that I broke, so that may have had something to do with it, but not right next to. Okay, thank you for your service, Paul. Let's go discuss these results. All right, let's talk about some results. So before I talk about the results, I just wanted to say that I fully understand that this is not a 100% scientific experiment. This is mostly just for a bit of fun for me, but also to inform my practice of historical European martial arts, and especially harness fighting. We talk so much about thrusting into the gaps where people have mail as a viable form of offense and one of the only ways to wound people. And I wanted to see just what that might take, or get at least some idea of what that might take. And to me, this did that, even though it wasn't perfect. So how was it not perfect? Well, this mail, and I just cut the ends off my sleeves to make them shorter, and that's what this piece is. This mail is not perfectly historical. It's pretty decent mail. As I said in the first video, it's 6mm inside diameter, and it is alternating solid ring and dome riveted. And both of these things are pretty historical as far as I understand, but the rings are probably flatter. There are some flat ring examples, but these are probably flatter than historical examples. And also, people who really know mail say that the riveting is stronger on historical examples, which I could totally believe that. So it's not perfectly historical in that way, but this is decent mail. I would love to do it with some really high quality mail sometime, but it's decent mail. And this antenna dagger, beautiful antenna dagger from Todd Cutler. Doing this has made me love it even more, actually. It's not the rondelle that you hear most people talking about and see in sources, but there, as I posted in the first video, there are a couple of late 14th century Italian images with an antenna dagger, and it is being used in knightly combat. So, this probably saw some battlefield use. So I think it's still a valid experiment, for me anyways, for my own purposes. So, that said, what exactly did it tell me? Well, it told me that mail and an arming garment is a pretty solid defense, really. Yes, I did break some rings, but on most of those, I don't think the dagger would have gone through that far. It probably still wouldn't have been fun, I think, especially if it were in some of those vital areas that mail are covering, like underneath the armpit, the throat, the groin. That could have caused some bleeding for sure, and I don't know, just knowing the little bit I know about wearing harness, if I started bleeding all of a sudden and got that point in me, I would probably not be too happy about it. So yeah, but I did several strikes that didn't make it through and only deformed the rings or cut partially through. So to me, I think that yes, a really, really heavy blow from a dagger or sword or spear on foot could do it. I'm guessing that like two armored combatants clashing together, especially if you're using a spear or sword and you've got a little bit more room to gain some momentum, I think that would probably make it easier. I still don't feel like it would be, a given that you would pierce the mail either, though. This seems like pretty good defense. It was really hard to get through this. I was going 100% at this mail, and the gauntlet locks it in really well, and it tore the thumb off. I think because the antenna colon was probably just like levering against this piece is kind of my guess, I'm not sure. But I was putting a lot of force into those blows, and I wasn't breaking a ring every time, even on my hardest blows. So this is a real quick edit after the fact. I had just finished the video, but I wanted to put this in. So you can see here two places where I broke rings, and now there's only one separating those spots. So another one of my takeaways is that if you could land a few heavy blows in the same area in rapid succession, that you might stand a better chance of like really injuring somebody. Some of you might be curious how the dagger held up. It held up very, very well. The tip is blunted a little bit, and there's just a slight, very, very slight roll. You can hear my thumbnail on it. But I was going full power into mail, and the back, after this dense furniture foam, it was a cold steel buckler, and those things are tough as nails. So a bunch of strikes, I don't blame this too much. I can get rid of that roll real quick. So what I gather from this is, yeah, it is totally possible to get through mail, but I think it's easier said than done, most likely. And I think even with a really, really well-placed, really hard strike, you're probably still betting to some degree on luck of finding maybe a place where, hey, that rivet just wasn't done as well as some of the others around there, or maybe there was a little bit of damage there before, or something like that. I was actually breaking solid rings on this, so the historical part about it being stronger in the rivets isn't as applicable because I was breaking solid rings, but I was popping some rivets too. Yeah, I think, yes, doable from the little bit that I've done, but you need a really well-placed, really hard strike and a little bit of luck. So that's my takeaway. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you'd like to see me do some other experiments along these lines, please let me know. I don't have a good sharp sword, but I do have a Japanese yari that's sharp, and it is a triangular section, and there were a few triangular section spears in Europe. I'd have to look up exactly which ones. I think they're a little bit later than the time period I'm going with, but hey, I could try that out if you guys wanted to. Please comment down below. What did you think about this? What would you like to see? It would be great to get a discussion going and see what else we can come up with. Thank you once again for coming by the channel. I really appreciate you all. Getting close to 250 subscribers. Nice. Please share this around. You can follow me on Twitter at CorrugatedCaval1. Be good to each other, and ciao.